Hello and welcome to Hockey Talk. My name is Jaret Schneider along with Jordan Peca, and I guess we could say it was kind of a slow week in the NHL other than one monster deal, and it actually had to do with no players. A pretty big deal, but no players involved. Maybe we'll get into that in a sec, but other than that, it has been a pretty good week in the NHL, kind of a fun week. Things kind of staying where they are. We're seeing some teams kind of turn around. Edmonton's won a few games. Boston has kind of maybe turned it around a little. They were already kind of there. But other than that, maybe we'll hop into some of the big things right now. We had the NHL contract for the TV rights. They sold to Rogers, or rather Rogers bought them here on a couple days ago now. Pretty big deal, 12 years, $5.6 billion or something like that. Just a massive deal. Thoughts on that, I guess?
It's pretty interesting. I mean, in terms of the fans, it's really interesting because all the games that Sportsnet would usually show regionally are now available across Canada. So in terms of giving the fans more hockey, it's a great deal. I'm sure other guys like Bell probably not so happy because I know they had a bid in for it as well. But TSN keeps the rights for things like the World Juniors and kind of the IIHF kind of world events. And Sportsnet will still... Then Rogers Sportsnet will still give CBC the Hockey Night in Canada. So some things will still be the same. But I think overall it's a pretty interesting deal, if nothing else.
Yeah, actually, I kind of was surprised by it, actually. I was pretty sure that TSN and Bell would... I'm pretty sure they're a bigger company with more money. I thought they would just, sweep it and they'd be the ones with the 12 years and cut Sportsnet right out of hockey completely. But no, Rogers comes in with this huge monster deal, $5.6 billion over 12 years, which is absolutely phenomenal. It basically kills the NHL and TSN panel. Absolutely kills them. I mean, Bob McKenzie, Duthie, Cam Moore, or Wardo, all the guys on the panel there, I guess they're pretty much done after this year. I mean, congratulations to Rogers is what some of the guys were tweeting over the past few days. Like you said, the regional thing, I like it. It's actually going to give us Canadians, especially in like Manitoba, more hockey. We're limited to the Jets, and it's on TSN, a TSN Jets channel, and we got to pay for the channel. Well, now Rogers has come in, and they're going to give us all the games: Edmonton, Calgary, Vancouver, Ottawa. All the other Canadian teams. They're going to give us all these regional games, which is kind of cool because before they were blacked out. So it's going to give us more games, more opportunities. TSN rather will still have the Jets and the Leafs regionally. That's the thing that they hang on to. That's, I believe, the only NHL they're going to play is going to be Jets games, and then some Leafs regional games that aren't, Saturdays or whatever. And then obviously the IHF. So a pretty interesting deal, a shocking deal for me, actually. I thought TSN would come in and just swoop right in, take some stuff like that. But like you said, CBC is still going to keep Saturdays. They kind of subcontracted it. So Sportsnet has all the rights to who goes on TV, so they can cut Don Cherry if they want, all those other kind of crazy things, and get all the profits from it as well.
And it's very interesting if you think about it because Rogers already has exclusive rights to baseball in Canada. They already broadcast all 162 of the Jays games every summer. And so for 6 months of the year, they're the place to go in the summer for baseball. And now they move over to the winter schedule as well. And they basically encompass the entire year with sports, which for them is a huge pickup.
Yeah, it is. Right now, I mean, they've got, the odd game on West or whatever your region is to watch a game. And not even here for Manitoba, we don't actually have any. We only have the Jets. So it'll be kind of cool moving forward to see some of the things like that. And like you mentioned, the baseball, yeah. Like TSN was shut out of baseball before, now they're shut out of hockey. TSN has the CFL, and that's another thing they were talking about is now they can move the CFL schedule up a little bit because it doesn't interfere with TSN and with hockey playoffs. So we could see, that's kind of besides the point, we could see the CFL move up a couple of weeks. So another interesting thing there to look out for. It's kind of interesting, pretty cool stuff. $5.6 billion, massive deal. Something to look forward to maybe next year. Obviously, it'll kick in next year, but other than that, maybe we'll hop into some of the NHL news. We've got some other things going on. We've got some injuries we'll get to in a bit. We also have seen a big injury in LA in Jonathan Quick, but we saw backup with Scrivens there who stepped in and played pretty well, Jordan.
Yeah, and when he was in Toronto, Scrivens definitely showed that he can be a good goaltender, but he never really got a chance to play. And he went over to the Kings over to LA, and he was still the backup, understandably. And then Quick gets injured. And since Scrivens has been playing up till today, I think they're 4-0-2, and so really not showing any signs of slowing down. And Scrivens leading the league in goals against average, and he's right up there in all the other goaltending categories. And anytime you can have a backup that comes in and wins for you, you're going to go far.
Absolutely, and have better numbers than Quick, because as you saw at the beginning, the Kings weren't slouching, but they weren't the cup-winning Kings we saw from 2 years ago, and then the conference finalists we saw last year, they were like 8-5, 8-6 for a while. And now that Scrivens has came in, they're winning games. They're winning games. They lost a couple in overtime, but they're getting points. They're getting more points than they did before. Not saying that when Quick comes back, they're going to stay with Scrivens. Obviously, they'll go back to Quick being the number one. But the team has kind of turned it around in a sense. They've kind of hit a corner, and they're looking in the right direction. You know, Carter and Richards and all those guys, Doughty and Kopitar, maybe they're kind of stepping up and realizing that, you know, we got a full 82-game season and not just a short one anymore. But other than that, I mean, they've stepped up. We're seeing some other injuries like Stamkos. I know we look back to that one every week. Some huge news from him. For anyone who doesn't know, I just found this out today. He's walking. Absolutely phenomenal. He broke a bone in the bottom part of his leg, snapped it right in half, and he's walking already, which is absolutely phenomenal.
It's almost ridiculous to say. I mean, if you saw the video, he came in hard to the post, and his leg, not to be graphic, but kind of wrapped around the post and back. He shattered that bone. And he was walking, no crutches and no cast, just with a bit of support, kind of a small walking boot. But to see that is, that's pretty impressive. I'm really surprised, but good for him. I know he's still a ways away from coming back, but people were talking early on that there was a chance he'd miss the Olympics. There's a chance he wouldn't even be back until maybe the playoffs. But I think now things are looking a lot more positive than people thought.
Yeah, I think before it was maybe a slim chance. He was doubtful maybe for the Olympics, but now I would almost look at it as probable for the Olympics. I would put him to almost probable with him walking. I mean, yes, like you said, it's still weak and, you know, he's still got a boot kind of thing, but we're still a whole month away from when they've got to name the team. They've got till January 6th or 7th. It was actually pushed back a week, I just heard too. So it's pushed back to another week before they have to name the team. By then, you know, the next couple of weeks he'll continue walking. Maybe he starts skating. He skates for a week. Then he starts practicing with the team for a week. Next thing you know, he's ready to go, and it's still in the beginning of January, and the Olympics aren't until February. I think he could get some NHL games in before they go to the Olympic break. So, I mean, that's huge news for Canada because he is a phenomenal player, and it helps me out in a couple of my hockey drafts. So I'm pretty excited about that too. I was so down in the dumps he went down, but it's awesome to see him back. Another injury, we got Monahan. Sean Monahan, I know he's a rookie guy in Calgary, but he's kind of been the soul of the franchise so far to this point of the year. He's been leading the team as a young guy too, as an 18-year-old. He's been playing very well, but to see him go down, he's week to week, so he could be back in a little while.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect him to be out too long, but it is unfortunate he's been out because, like you said, when he came in, he played his 9 games, and Calgary decided to keep him, and we had thought maybe not such a good move. They should have sent him down. But he proved he could play, and he's been one of their most productive players all year so far. And so to see him go down, a team that's already kind of struggling, I think it's going to be hard for them to build something off of that. And I think right now they're really just waiting for him to come back. And I think he will come back fairly soon, probably within a week or two, and he'll be back and he'll be helping the team. But that's a really unfortunate blow to a team that's already down pretty far.
Yeah, I know, and we'll see how that goes. What they do with him if they rush him back. Obviously, you don't want to rush him back. He's a young kid, and obviously they're not in a playoff position. And I don't think they're going to be in a playoff position. I think they've actually started to drop more. They started out hot. They've kind of dropped over the last few weeks. So we'll see how they handle that situation. Another injury, we have Zach Parise, or Parise now they call him. Parise now. He changed the pronunciation of his name. So he's in Minnesota. That's a tough spot to be in because they're an above 500 team right now, and he's the same thing. He's got a couple of weeks, but they're in a tough division there, and I believe they're still sitting in 4th, which is kind of an iffy spot to be in. You don't want to be in that position, even with the record that they have. So that's another one to look into, I guess. They got a home-and-home with Colorado here Friday, Saturday, which is big because they're 3-4 in the division, a home-and-home. If you go 4 points to no points, it's an 8-point flop. It could be pretty huge in that division and some of the races there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Minnesota's in a bit of a better position than Calgary. Again, one of their top players, Parise's gone down. But they have other people in that team they can use to fill some holes. And so it's going to be a little tough going forward because he's definitely been one of the good players. But they got guys like Danny Heatley in there. They're not hurting for scoring talent the way that Calgary is. And so I think even without him, they can still be competitive. But they'll definitely be excited when he comes back.
Yeah, they'll definitely still be competitive. They've got some good goaltending as well there too. Josh Harding and Backstrom. And Backstrom was down for a bit, but he's back up and he looks to be fine. So we'll see. That'll be interesting to look forward to. I mean, Parise's out 2 to 3 weeks, so kind of the same thing as Monahan. Maybe we'll jump into another thing here. I know you're a big Sens fan. They're in the Heritage Classic this year with Vancouver. Pretty exciting game to look forward to, but they've released their new jersey today, Jordan.
Yeah, they did, and it was kind of a cool thing. If you've seen their third jerseys from now, it's mostly black with a red and white stripe on it, and the new Heritage ones they're going to be wearing next year flip the black and the white, so it's mostly white with a black stripe. And to be perfectly honest, I actually like it a lot more. I was never a super huge fan of their Heritage jerseys. I thought they were okay, but I didn't love them. But these ones I actually really like. I think they're a very cool idea. They're simple, they're classic, and I'm a fan.
Yeah, they're kind of a sleek look, actually. Like you mentioned, they're kind of like the black ones they wore at home before. And this one's obviously going to be a road one as they're going to BC. And that might be the reason why it's white, obviously, going on the road. So that'll be something kind of cool to see. They're going to play Vancouver. I believe is the game in February or March?
I believe it's February.
So that'll be something to look forward to. They're definitely a lot nicer than Vancouver's god-awful burgundy things, I think. So the game all around is going to look, I think it's going to be weird to see these two weird jerseys. But anyway, it'll be fun. I mean, it's in BC Place. The new BC Place, so it's actually got a roof on it. But I'm pretty sure they're going to open the roof for it.
I don't see why they wouldn't.
There, so I think it'd be awesome to see. So it'll be pretty cool. It'll be something to look forward to, and that game's another thing to look forward to. Other than that, not a huge busy week. We saw some teams up and down. We saw some teams kind of turn it around. St. Louis and Chicago kind of reassert their dominance here over the past week. The East is still slouching.
And speaking of teams kind of jumping a little bit, I think it's important to mention the Jets. I mean, they're unfortunately fairly inconsistent, but this week we've seen Evander Kane and Mark Scheifele score, guys that haven't scored in weeks now, and those were guys that the team was really heavily relying on to kind of come into their own and lead the team, and they weren't able to do it early on, but hopefully now they've got the monkey off their back, they broke the goalless drought. This might be a turning point for the Jets.
Yeah, I agree. It's good to see their guys get back into it. I think they're on, what is it, Paul, a 2-game win streak or a 3-game win streak? 2-game win streak. So, I mean, some cool stuff to look forward to for them. I know they've got another game here in the next little while, but we'll see how things go with them. It's been good so far. Maybe we'll hop into some picks here right away. Things are going all right to this point. I went 6-1 last week.
Oh, what you've been trying to do
I've been trying to do it all year.
You always say you do it. You finally stuck it to me.
Finally pulled it through.
And yet, you went 6-1, and you're still below 500.
I'm still losing to you. So
That's all that really matters.
You went 3-4. I went 6-1. So I gained 3 of those games back on you, which is nice. I was 5 behind you before, so I'm 2 behind you now. So you are 29-27.
All right, above 500.
And I'll flip that. I'm 27-29. So a collective 500.
Ouch.
Right now, which probably isn't good.
Yikes.
But we're picking tough games.
How do we still have a job?
Benefit of the doubt. I think we're picking some tough games. Like this week, for example, we've got St. Louis and San Jose coming up. That's a coin flip. So we'll see. We'll see how things go throughout the rest of the year. But tonight, 2 games tonight. We actually have a preview of the Heritage Classic we were talking about. We have Vancouver and Ottawa. This time, it's in Ottawa.
And I think this is pretty interesting. The Sens have had a couple wins now. They had a big one against Washington last night. They won 6-4. And we've used the term consistently inconsistent with them all season. And whenever they seem to play the West, they don't seem to do all that great. So I'm going to pick against my home team. I will take Vancouver.
I'm going to need a pen real quick. Anyway, you said Vancouver?
I did.
Okay. I like Vancouver. Sorry, Paul. I like Vancouver. What did Ottawa do in their last game? Nice throw.
They won.
Ottawa won their last game?
Yeah.
They're going to lose. They're going to lose.
Okay, so we're both taking Vancouver. Consistently inconsistent Sens are going to lose. All right.
Tomorrow, Friday night, we have St. Louis in San Jose. Basically a coin flip. It can go either way.
That's easily going to be a playoff series. I guarantee it. I will take San Jose only because they're at home.
San Jose. You know what? I'm liking that pick as well. I'm going to go with San Jose. You mentioned it could be a playoff matchup. The only way we would see that is if they were 2 of the 2 finalists out of the conference, but they very well could be. They very well could be, even the 2 number 1 seeds going in with home ice until they meet up with each other. I'll take San Jose as well. Based on at home, they play phenomenal in the Shark Tank. I like San Jose. Goaltending's been well, things like that. St. Louis plays good defensively, but I'll take San Jose at home, and then we'll move on to Saturday. Not a huge Saturday matchup, but a classic Saturday matchup is Toronto at Montreal.
Oh, 2 of the original 6, and they're in Montreal. It's a very, very tough building to play in. And I think Montreal wanted to go out and get some bigger forwards and play a more aggressive game. And so far this year, they've been able to do that. I will take Montreal.
You're going to take Montreal. And you know what we said about Ottawa before was inconsistently consistent?
I believe you mean consistently inconsistent. There we go.
So, and we've seen that from Toronto. Toronto's went out and laid eggs. They've given up the most amount of shots, average a game in the league, and they've only got the 3rd amount of shots, so they're getting completely outshot. Paul just mentioned that they had 0 shots against Pittsburgh in the 3rd period in overtime last night, so they've been consistently inconsistent. So I'm going to take Toronto in this game just based on the fact that
they've gone up and down, so they're
gone up and down. They're down. They got to
game.
beat Montreal. They always show up to Montreal. Honestly, they do.
It'll be a good matchup.
They're going to go into Montreal, so we'll see how that goes. Sunday we have Edmonton at Dallas.
Oh boy, and Edmonton looking a little bit better. They're still a little bit down, and Dallas playing phenomenally. They got a lot of young guys on that team that are all pulling on the same rope. I'll take Dallas.
All right, you're gonna take Dallas. You know what? I like Dallas. I'm gonna go with Edmonton though. Just
So
because,
you really don't want to go 6-1 this week, do you?
we'll see. You know what? I like what Edmonton's doing. They've kind of turned it around. Not gonna lie, they've won a few games. Brizgalov has actually played a few times now. He hasn't been, he hasn't got any shutouts, but he hasn't given up any 6 or 7 goal games. So I like Edmonton. They're gonna go on the road. I know I'm picking road teams here all week, but you know what? I like Edmonton. I think they're kind of turning the corner. They're starting to realize what they need to do, and I think it's going to happen on the road because they're getting booed at home, and they're not playing good at home. It's going to happen on the road. They're going to turn it around. They kind of are. They obviously have a huge mountain to climb, but they've won a few games in a row. I like Edmonton to this point. I think Edmonton. I just have a feeling they're going to go in there on the road and get it done. Moving forward, next night we have the hometown Winnipeg Jets in New York to take on the Rangers.
Oh, the Rangers, very good team. A lot of talent on that team. They don't seem to bring it. I don't know. Rick Nash comes back. They're still not great. He was there for a while, not doing much. Tortorella was the coach. They didn't do well. Not the coach now. Still not doing well. Winnipeg is going to take it. Their young guys scored. They're on a hot streak now. They're going to turn it around. They'll take this one.
All right. I'll go against you. I'll go with the Rangers. Consistently inconsistent Jets. You can say that with a few Canadian teams this year. I'm going to go with the Rangers. They, you know what? They're at home, Madison Square Garden. And the Jets have been good. They've won a couple of games. So they obviously play again before that one. But I just have a feeling that they're going to start going back down again. Obviously not to the basement, but they're going to be this throughout the middle of the year. They'll finish in the middle of the pack in an extremely tough division. But I'm going to take the Rangers in that one. I just like what they're, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Lundqvist obviously is tough to go against, but at home, I'll take the Rangers. And the next night, we have the LA Kings in Anaheim in Southern California to take on the Ducks.
Here's another possible playoff match. Very well could be. Both those teams playing phenomenally. LA finally starting to become the team that everyone expected them to be this year. Anze Kopitar playing well, getting great goaltending. And I'll take that goaltending to keep it going. I will take the Kings.
Yeah, the Kings are a pretty good pick. I'm not going to lie. The Kings they've turned it around. We talked about Scrivens a little bit. I'll take Anaheim in this one. At home, the Ducks have been good. Getzlaf, Perry, goaltending, defensively. They're leading the division for a reason right now, and I think at home ice, they're pretty much unbeatable. Even though LA is a good team, I'm still going to take Anaheim in this one. The next night is next Wednesday. We have Philadelphia in Detroit.
And Philly as well started off pretty horrendously, let's be honest. But they've slowly started building on what they had in a foundation. They're becoming a good team. But I'm going to take Detroit. They've played fairly consistently all year. I don't think they have quite as many wins as they'd like to have. But I think the guys are all veteran players. They can come together and make it work.
I agree with you. Detroit's just there right now. I think they're third, in that division, or fourth in that division right now behind Tampa. Detroit, they're going to be there at the end of the year. They're going to make the playoffs, especially in the not as good Eastern Conference. Philly's been kind of horrendous, not very good. Detroit at home too. You got guys like Alfredson, and they got a good stack of guys there. Getzlaf or Datsuk and Zetterberg rather, but I like Detroit in that one. That's the final game of the week. We'll see how it goes this week.
Maybe I'll go 6-1 this week.
Maybe you'll go 6-1. Maybe then I'll go. Well, I won't go anywhere near that because we flip-flopped in a lot of games. But we'll see. It'll be a good week. We'll see how things go. And any final words, I guess, before we close her out?
I'm excited to go 6-1 and see you go 1-6.
All right. We'll bring this footage back next week when I'm 7-0. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, for Hockey Talk right here on Shaw TV, for Jordan Peca, Jaret Schneider, thanks for watching.